Well, I wanted to. I don't want to call this car done, because there's no such thing as done in the car world. But I will say that we've successfully made it to a stopping point here, and I wanted to do a little walk around video. I don't know how little it is, because I was going to highlight modifications here, and we've made so many. Maybe it may be long, so we'll see how it goes. But this is our '78 Mustang II King Cobra. It is one of 11 King Cobras made that were black with the white luxury interior. And I'm going to do the outside, and we'll go under the hood, and we'll go inside and show you around. We'll start up here in the front. All these. Everybody wants to talk about the paint on this car, so let's talk about the paint on this car first. So I bought this car from a guy who was caretaker of this car for decades, and the car was painted around 1992, 1993, and this is still that paint job. He kept it inside and has preserved the paint job pretty well. It was a little bit faded and needed some serious polishing, so a great friend of mine polished this car for me, and he is an amazing polisher, as you can see. And it just came out just incredible for what it is. It is not a clear coat, it is a single stage urethane, and just really happy with how all this came out. We pulled all the moldings, all the like satin black parts you see, headlight doors, grill, all the moldings, all of that. We did take all that off and repair some dents and dings and what have you, and repaint all of that. I did the stripes in the bumper. And the hood stripe, it's got a couple of bruises in it, but that's all right. The car has some scratches, a lot of places I've touched up, but I actually kind of like that. We're going to drive this car, and hey, some bruises are okay. So, all right, wheels and tires, let's talk about that. These cars came with 13-inch wheels on them. Why in the world Ford would do that, I have no idea. Nevertheless, there they are. So I wanted to upgrade that, so it's got Anson slots. They're discontinued, but I was able to find this absolutely incredible mint set on Marketplace with the help of a member from one of the Mustang II groups on Facebook. And obviously had the BFGs on there because it's the 70s, baby. And these are 205 6015s on the front and 225 6015s on the rear. The front, these cars have a tendency to set up too high in the front, so this has the Speedway adjustable coilovers on the front with 500-pound springs. And a little more side view of the stance here. That pretty darn happy with how that sits. A little rake, and really happy with that. The car did not have the louvers on it, but we bought the both side and back louvers. Did this window tint. I've never tinted a windshield before, even though this one is tinted. So it's 35% on the sides and the back, and 50% on the windshield, which I love. Headlights, those are LEDs, and they are awesome. I mean, like awesome. I'll put a link to some of these things down in the description. So let's walk on around. See the exhaust here. Good friend of mine with an exhaust shop here did the exhaust on this car, and it had the factory single exhaust on it when we got it, and now it has true 2-inch duals with the crossover. And I like this little exit behind the tire, kind of reminiscent of how the Trans Ams were back in the day. Continue on around here. All these decals, like I said, were on it whenever I got it, and they're not perfect, but they're not bad. So leaving all that alone. I did these bumper stripes and had to have the personalized tag. That was pretty cool. So one more little look around here. on the outside. The only thing I will say, we did have to paint the cowl. The cowls on these cars were galvanized from Ford, and Ford couldn't keep paint on them, and neither could anybody else. So the cowl was peeled off whenever we got it. So we did fix that and got that painted. That is not the original Cobra emblem in the grill. That is I think it's like a 94 to 2006 or something Cobra. And there's a guy that actually makes the right mount for that. Get a little look down the driver's side. Like I said, really happy with how everything is here. The car gets a huge amount of attention. I've had a lot of really nice cars and cars that got a lot of looks, but I don't know that I've ever had a car that gets any more looks than this one does. So, all right, let's open up the hood and we'll go in there and see a bunch of mods that we've done there. All right, under the hood, we've done a lot. I've kind of touched up paint, done whatever here. I pulled the latch and the safety latch and painted that with some stainless steel paint, changed a bunch of bolts just to highlight that stuff and give it a more factory looking appearance there. These shields are kind of unique to the AC cars, and they were gone on this car whenever I got it, and I was able to find a set just for the example that weren't any good, and actually made these that you see here out of a lower shield from a like 2020 Expedition, I think. Anyway, I just used the ones that I bought for a pattern, went from there. So KKS aluminum radiator, great deal. So you notice no more, it is a factory AC car. That's obviously not the factory AC. AC Auto Solutions out of Texas makes a kit to put the sand and compressor and new lines, new evaporator core, new dryer, all that stuff on here. This is you can't see it, but there's a reproduction condenser in there, like a factory style condenser. I really wanted it to look factory. One of my main goals for mods on this car were, there's a lot of stuff that's not original, but I wanted it to look factory. So I think that took care of that. The engine was rebuilt many years ago, but hasn't been driven very much, and it's had gaskets and such freshened up just a few years back. The transmission was fresh in this car too whenever we got it. So master cylinder, that's the Bronco 2 master cylinder, very popular mod on these cars, kind of get a more modern master cylinder. I adapted, I've got videos for this. I'll link to a couple other videos here on some of this stuff, but this is the Ford Contour dual electric fan setup, and I just finished that up not just a few days ago, and I'll link to that video of that. That required that we changed the alternator out here, which we did. That's a 3G alternator, so pretty simple deal to do there, and I have a video on that too, so I'll link back to that. Change these cables around. This heat shield is another one of those kind of unique things to these cars, and it was gone whenever I got this car, and I was able to find this one used from a guy that's on the Facebook groups, and I bought a lot of parts and pieces to fill in the blanks from him, and I was very happy to get that. But I restored that and redid the insulation and everything. I said we've all new AC lines, like I talked about. A lot of new stuff here. New power steering pump, power steering lines, new ignition box, just a lot. Let me give you a little overview of that again. I was better talk about the hood struts. So this is a strut kit. These cars just have prop rods, but this is a hood strut kit that's actually meant for a Pinto that I modded a little bit to work on this. So, and like I said, my goal overall for this car, and especially on this engine compartment, was, even though it's not original, to make it look factory, and I think we've actually accomplished that pretty well. So All right, engine compartment is said and done. Let's move to the interior. One of the things that drew me to this particular car, and something I loved about this car, I had one of these cars back in '78, not a King but a regular Cobra back in '78, and it was a white billboard car with red stripes, and it had a white interior, and I loved the white interior. So these are actually the original door panels, original armrest. We literally just did some vinyl touch-up work there, and those are the originals. We did paint the back of these doors. I haven't painted any of the other jams, and got new decals and such there, all new weather strips, new bumpers, new all of that. The original white interior that was in this car when I got it was not bad, but it was just not what I wanted. So put Classic Auto Reproductions, got a bunch of parts from them, including this interior kit. Worked out really well. Got a great buddy of mine, James Carter, did the interior for me. It's just turned out gorgeous. I've repainted the dash, but that's the original dash panel, or dash pad. The clock did not work, but I sent it off and had it fixed, and as you see, it's working now. I redid all these bezels, resprayed chrome on the trim, all of that. Look here, oh, look at, hey, bash the camera. Look at the back seat. It's a little cup holder thing I found on Amazon, since obviously nobody wanted to have a drink while they were driving in 1978, but redid all these plastics. Those are actually painted with base clear. A lot of this is really not plastic. It's got a lot of metal in here. So headliner redone by my great buddy, the interior guy. New seat belts in here. The old seat belts, I mean 45-year-old seat belts, I'm not really voting for that. So these are new seat belts. I'll get a link to that. And that go just basically just bolt right in there, and really nice to have new seat belts in here. Floor mats, got those on eBay. Let's move around here to the back. So the new carpet in here, and the original carpet was still in the back of this car. It had been changed in the front, but the original carpet was still in the back. So there's some plastic pieces and all that holds all this carpet in, and I was really happy that we could have that to transfer over to this new carpet. And I'll show you in here, this is one of the original wheels and tires. I decided I was going to put it in there for a spare. Hope I don't need it. You can see this is not, the floor pans in this car were immaculate, absolutely rust free, immaculate floor pans in this car. And this is a layer of sound deadening. I was able to just get plain black sound deadening, and then we got the jack sticker again to go on there. All the original jack, all the original everything is in here. So pretty cool. And let's move around to the driver's side, and I'll show you the rest of this. Another original door panel that we just touched up again, same story. All right, like I said, it is a factory AC car. We did change the instrument cluster in this car. 120 mile an hour speedometer is not the norm for these cars. It had an 80, but it had some gauge trouble, and we needed to change the instrument cluster out to get that going. That is the original steering wheel. I was able to get an NOS horn button, which is just a gorgeous piece, and was really finished out the interior nicely. So a shot of the seat here, if we can get it to focus in on that. We did put the Classic Audio stereo in it, so it looks like the original stereo, but it actually is a hands-free Bluetooth, yada yada, all of that. So pretty cool. Makes it nice and just adds to the more, modern of the car. So like I said, all new weather strips and everything everywhere, makes it super solid. Make another little lap around here as we close everything up. So these are aftermarket louvers. I actually really preferred the aftermarket louvers. The original louvers, sometimes there's sets out there, they're really expensive, but I don't want to drill any more holes in this car, and the original louvers actually are drilled and riveted, which I wasn't voting for, so glad to have those. Where the strip's still a little bit tight, but that's all right. We like it that way. So, all right, one more time around. Like I said, past that, we've pretty much been through every piece of rubber, every mechanical thing on this car from one end to the other. It had a new fuel tank and a new sending unit in it, and we've dropped that and replaced all the rubber, all the grommets. Like I said, we've been through every piece of this car. All this sound deadening. I showed you sound deadening in the back, but in the front, under the carpet, there's sound deadening layers on the floor. It's inside the doors, inside the quarters, on the wheel houses. There's the bubble type foil insulation that's all glued in the roof. And then on the floor, there's 1/4 inch sound deadening foam that's on top of all the sound, 1/4 inch heat mitigation foam that's on top of all the sound deadening all the way up the firewall. And it makes this car like a modern car on the inside. It's so quiet and so easy to cool. This tint that's on this car is ceramic, and it's my first ceramic tint, but man, it's incredible how much it reflects, and it just made this car such a pleasure to drive, and we love the thing. So just thanks for watching. Any questions, any comments, leave them down below. I'll put some links to some of this stuff, but if there's obviously I'm not going to link to everything that we did on the car, but if you have questions about something, let me know and I'll give you a link. Thanks for watching. See you next time.